Hey everyone, it's Kobe at the Saltwater Edge. I tie some of the flies for the shop, and today we will be going over why I tie some of them or what I tie them for, a little bit about how I tie them, which correlates to how and where I fish them. We'll be going through most of the ones that I tie. My favorite one is out of stock. It's the boogie minnow, so I'll talk a little bit about that, but I don't have it to show. Yeah, we'll just get right into it. The first one, I'm going to go biggest to smallest. The biggest I tie right now is the Cuttyhunk Special. This one I've been tying for a long time, probably about I want to say 8 or 9 years. It hasn't always looked like this. It's gone through a few changes just to make it better. And as I fish most of these patterns, a lot of them have changed depending on just what I find to be more effective. And this is the point that it's gotten to now. So it started as a flat wing, just a sparse classic flat wing. And flat wings, I know there's a lot of flat wing fans out there. I'm one of them. My issue with them and why I sort of started to add more bulk and tweak it a bit is because I was fishing a lot of rough water in boulder fields. And I needed something that could sort of get their attention more. I wasn't so much swinging a fly. I like a flat wing, like in calm conditions, if I'm swinging it and they don't have too much time to look at it. In the cases I was fishing primarily, I needed something that would push a lot of water, get their attention. I was trying to weed out a lot of the smaller fish. The smaller fish tend to think about the bigger stuff just a hair more, which gives the bigger fish time to get in there before them. So I started adding some bulk. They lasted me longer as well, which was nice. It still keeps a lot of the flat wing. I've got a lot of flat wing saddles still. It keeps a lot of those saddles in there for color and movement. I've added a shank off the back, kind of hard to see, which keeps a lot of that from fouling around the hook, which was a problem I had with flat wings. And then the bucktail mainly is hollow tied back, so you get a lot of the bulk without a lot of that water retention. They don't get too heavy. I fish these on a 10 weight with a SA intermediate line. I think it's the Sonar, and it casts just fine. I don't have any problems casting it on that setup. So this is the herring color. A lot of herring around here in the spring, some in the fall. So that's primarily when I'll use this, when that bait's around. This is the Cuttyhunk Special in mackerel. It's a great pattern. Obviously, when mackerel are around, it also does well when there's no mackerel around. I find mackerel or a mackerel pattern to be productive in most cases for striped bass. There's not many mackerel at Cuttyhunk, but it's still a pattern on fly or lure that I do very well on. So always a good one to have. There's a third color and a fourth color, bunker and scup. They're both out of stock right now. They look the same, but more scup coloration and more bunker coloration, but same idea, same tie. The next fly in my lineup will be the boogie minnow. Sadly, I don't have one here. They're out of stock. It's my favorite fly probably to use. It's just a very productive fly. It's like a smaller version of this, no shank and all white with some sort of pearly white stuff right here. It's just a very fishy fly, catches all sorts of fish. When peanut bunker are around, most bait are around, white's just that color that works well, which is probably the main reason it works so well, but it's got a ton of movement. I tie it with a lot of ostrich herl, and it fishes very, very well. Definitely a fly, definitely the first fly I put on. Definitely the fly I'm fishing right now during the fall run. Just mimics peanut bunker and mullet very, very well. After the boogie minnow, we've got the flat wing mummy chog. This is a fly, more of a niche fly. Salt ponds, back bays. When the boogie minnow doesn't work, I'm usually putting this on. It's a little more subdued than a straight bright white fly. If the fish are feeling a little picky, just sort of muting the colors sometimes helps. Again, sort of flatwing style. The few saddles in here tied like that, so it sort of floats down the water column and sits nice with that surface area of that flat feather, and then holds there well. And a little bit of flash, not too much flash. I think flash can sometimes kill a fly on a sunny day, but you get a little bit of flash up here in the head. These smaller flies are all tied on the Mustad Heritage hooks. I haven't had any problems with them bending out or anything like that. I've really been enjoying them. So all these smaller patterns are tied on those, and I think I already mentioned it, but the bigger flies are on that RX Blue Water hook. I haven't had any problems. This is the Doryman Sand Eel. This is probably the fly I've been tying the longest. I've been tying it for probably 16 years now. I originally tied it at Cuttyhunk Sand Eel pattern. We get a lot of sand eels out there. It's been tweaked a little bit, just like all the patterns over time, but the main idea is still there. You got your easy body covered in UV glue for durability, one flatwing feather in there for movement, and again, to sort of, as it seats down the water column, that surface area of that feather sort of helps give it a more natural presentation. Just a great fly when the sand eels are around. Fishes really, really well. We move into squids. Squids are probably some of my favorite flies to tie. They just, get a lot of materials out, a lot of color in there. They're a fun tie. Does all the color matter to the fish? Probably not, but spices up my life a little bit, so that's nice. This is the cocktail squid. It's a smaller squid pattern. Works great for albies when they're on squids, for bass, anything that's eating squid, really. A lot of movement. There's a lot of marabou, ostrich herl in here, a few flatwing saddles. We've got the mantle is easy body, nice and durable, holds up well, and just is a great fly to sort of swing through an area. You can really fish it many different ways. The only way you can't really fish it, I haven't had too much success fishing it, is if you need a fly that gets down a little bit. I don't use sinking lines often. It doesn't get down great, which is why I tie the Super Pinky, which is a squid fly. It can be a worm fly. I tied it on these dumbbell eyes. Sometimes I'll just let it get down if I'm on a flat or on a flat at night. It'll just get right down on the bottom. The hook point is up because of those dumbbell eyes. You can just slow crawl it. I've seen squid do that at night, which is what initially gave me the idea, and because I wanted a fly that could fish deeper and faster than the cocktail squid. But you can fish it like a worm fly, slow on the bottom at night, like a sandworm. If I'm out in a boat, I like this fly. When the birds are working and there's squid around, I can get it down a little deeper in current. So this is another good squid option to have. It's got easy body with a UV coat, nice and durable. Again, marabou for that movement. It's also got some rubber legs in there. Moving on to albie flies. Again, albie flies generally work for bass too, but these are more albie-minded. Pretty small profiles, sparse, very easy to cast. I like to make sure that easy body goes right to the back of the hook, covered in UV, which keeps in this case, the bucktail or any material from fouling. One of my big pet peeves, especially if you finally get a good shot on an albie, is when you make the cast and the material wraps around the hook bend and it just ruins it. So I try to make sure to keep those dimensions right there. I think that's really important. These come in white, obviously, electric chicken, another good albie color, and then an anchovy color. And just a great fly when the smaller, very small baits around sand eels, small anchovies, stuff like that. And then similar idea, but a little bigger in profile. I switch, if the albies aren't looking at those too much, I want something that maybe gets their attention, or they're on peanuts instead of sand eels, or bigger anchovies. I sort of bump up to these crushed minnows, pretty much just an epoxy jig version fly. Very similar idea to those, but just a little bit bigger profile. So I'll switch to these if I want to get an albie's attention, or just bump up the profile when there's peanuts around. these are the flies I'm currently tying for the Saltwater Edge. I'm always sort of improving them, coming up with new patterns. So be sure to check out Cuttyhunk Flies on our website. If you have any comments, leave them down below. Thanks for watching.